by the time it came to the last audition, the booth, the on the other side of the glass was just packed. Nickelodeon executives and Mike and Brian, and I remember at the time they literally they did my audition and they turned off. They said, "Okay, we're going to turn off the sound so you can't hear us because we're all going to be talking about you now." I remember looking at them, literally watching all these executives and people talking rather animatedly. And it was just like, "Wow, man, this is my future could go either two ways." And then, fortunately, about 2 weeks later, they called and my agent called and said, "You got the gig." And what's kind of cool is I had already planned on taking the kids out of school, and we were going to go every now and then. We would just take them out of school and go to Disneyland because I worked for Disney and I got into Disney for free, and I'd been laid off, so I could only use that for so much longer. We'd already planned it. And indeed, "Hey, Greg, you've just been cast as the second voice of Uncle Ira. What are you doing?" "I'm going to Disneyland." We went to Disneyland the next day, and it was probably the most memorable Disney trip that I ever had. So, in a long way, I hope, again, I like to talk. Maybe I answered the question. I probably got off on a tangent, but it happens when you're an old man. It happens from time to time.
We should thank Disney for laying you off and being saved by Break, you know,
Absolutely. And,
basically.
ironically, they did hire me back for my old job, but without bennies. And then they laid me off again. And then I went back
Wow.
again and got a job working. I did credits I was a screen credits administrator. But that's a very fancy way of saying every time you see the credits on television in a movie, someone's got to spell check that. That's what I did. But fun fact, I did credits for all of the Marvel films, Phase Two, from Iron Man 3 to Ant Man. Uh,
Ooh.
I actually did all of those credits. So, but then the last time I quit Disney, went to work for DreamWorks instead. So,
Mm,
they laid me off twice, and I quit on them once. Terrible,
damn.
evil company, and yet I love it. So I don't know what's up with that.
Oh, well, maybe it's better with DreamWorks this time. But
You know,
hey,
I uh, I did enjoy working with DreamWorks. It's funny, people think, oh, these voice actors live the life, in Beverly Hills at my pool. I worked for DreamWorks in my day job until 2022. I didn't retire until 2022. The
oh,
I think the last film I worked on was Bad Guys at DreamWorks. I think so. Uh,
ooh, okay. Oh,
anyway,
and
that's
you,
my day job experience. Yeah.
um, damn. Well, yeah, well, now you are enjoying your retirement, I hope. Yeah. So,
Yes, and you know what? My job now is I get to travel and meet people all over the country and talk to them, and it's the best.
and discovering new places like this
As
community
long as
here.
I can find my name and talk, I will keep doing this. I don't foresee me ever retiring from that. And the beauty of
Good,
it is, I
good to know.
think it occurred to me fairly recently. I was watching a documentary about the history of sitcoms. And it
Hmm.
made me think that if there were a documentary about the history of television animation, Avatar is going to have to be part of that conversation. I think it was the first time that I realized that Avatar and Iroh is going to outlive me, and that's kind of a cool thing. I must say it's a comfort to know that long after I'm gone, people will still be listening to Uncle Iroh's wisdom, moving forward with their lives.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
Well,
Nah.
I figure I got it. As I always say, I say, you know what? I don't say I go to meet my maker. I say I'm going to meet Mako. I do. I never met him. I look forward to meeting him someday. But if it's all right, in another 20 years or so, Mako, then we'll have some
Oof.
whiskey together. A friend of mine said that he enjoyed whiskey, and so do I. So I think that's definitely on my list of to do things when I get to the hereafter.
You still have a lot of time ahead of you. Don't
From
worry.
your lips
That's
to
okay.
God's ears.
Alrighty then. Question number two. What is your favorite Uncle Iroh quote?
This is easy. It's actually from Cora. And everybody has Uncle Iroh lines that mean something to them specifically, a line that got them through a dark patch. And I remember my wife and I lived for 30 years in Los Angeles with two kids. Kids were grown, graduated from college, and launched. They were out of our house and had jobs. So we were like, you know what? I was born in New Mexico. Let's go live in New Mexico. It's much chiller. It's certainly much cheaper. And if I need to get to LA, I can get to LA easily. It's only an hour and a half by air. So we sold our house. Everything worked perfectly, except our timing, because we arrived in New Mexico in our house on March 1st, 2020. 2 weeks later, the world shut down. And I
Mm.
distinctly remember I was out walking. Freak! I got tired of watching the news. I'm just out taking a walk. My inner monologue was like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? We've left our children to the wolves. We have a kid on the West Coast and a kid on the East Coast. My son lives in New York. They've got refrigerated morgue cars in New York. This is terrible. There's no toilet paper. We're all going to die." And I was freaking out. And I heard a flock of birds singing. And the line that came into my head very, very clearly was from Cora. Uh, if you look for the light, you will often find it. If you look for the dark, that is all you will ever see. And so from that point
Ooh.
on, not just during COVID, but just in my life, I always go back to that line. What I love about that line is it's not just a fancy way of saying try to stay positive, although that is the message. It requires an active choice. If you look for the light, you have to look for the light. And once you make that decision, not to wallow in the darkness, to look for the light, you will. Oh my God, we're surrounded by light. We're enveloped by light. Even at night, you can look up and there's light. The moon is lit, is illuminated. There's stars, and so that is. And again, certainly in the days in which we find ourselves, I always gravitate to that. I think in some ways, Uncle Iroh, I think that is his power of this character is that in an increasingly dark world, Iroh is a point of light, tangible point of light that we can reach for and we can draw comfort and hope. What does he say? In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I remember
definitely.
that one. That one was so powerful.
Iroh has undoubtedly. Iroh makes everyone a better version of themselves, from Prince Zuko to millions of fans all over the world, to his second voice actor. Uh, Undoubtedly, I'm a
Mm.
kinder human because of my proximity to this wonderful character. And I always say too, it's great because we voice actors, we sort of get to be the front man for all of this. All those wonderful Ira lines. A writer wrote those. So, we have to give props to the writers because when they give you beautiful words to say like that, that's half the job. They give you things like that to say. So definitely that would be. Although there's so many quotes, that's my own personal Iro quote that I always fall back on.
Ooh, speaking of which, speaking of the show, what was your favorite scene? That's question number three. And if it is from Iroh, can you revoice it?
Yes, of course. Uh, Generally, I am. The first time I watched it, I was very, very critical. It's an actor thing. I don't like listening to myself. I would listen to it and I go, "Oh my God, you're going to get fired, Baldwin. You don't sound anything like Mako. You're terrible. You suck, Greg Baldwin." But when it came around to the for me, it's like the second most emotional scene in the entire show. The first, of course, being Leaves from the Vine, but the scene where Zuko comes into the tent. Nairo says,
Mm.
"I was never angry with you. I was sad because I thought you had lost your way." That was the one time where I listened and it's like, you know what, Greg, you're not so bad, and especially again at that Avatar in concert, they showed that scene, and it's like it's maybe enough distance has passed now that I can listen to myself and not go, oh, you're not cringe worthy. Ironically, I think also, I believe Mako was 72 years old when he passed away. And I was 46 when I was cast as Iroh. So I was a great deal younger than I am now. I'm 63 now. And I do find that as my actual vocal cords age and become closer to the age that Mako was, when he was recording. I think the impression gets a little closer just because my own voice is aging as well.
Oof. Oh man. Yeah, those two scenes, especially that one. It's even if it's been so much like so many years, it still touches people in the heart, man.
I can't think of a better depiction of what grace is, and grace is unearned forgiveness because Zuko does not deserve to be forgiven. And the way it's animated, you don't even know because he's up so fast. You don't even know what he's going to do. You don't know. Is he mad? And then when he brings him into that bear hug, and you see the tears trickling down his wrinkles, it's like, oh my gosh, I think it's lots and lots of moments like that as to why we're still talking about the show so many years later. I think probably today. Yes, I did say your name, Grace. I just said it out loud again. Looking at this, as trying to go through the. Wow, this is a lot. Well, what was I talking about? I was going to make a point, and now I've completely forgotten it because I started looking over here.
um
Oh no, I do. I
about
do. The power of the show is it was never dumbed down. Children. It was ostensibly a kids show, but it's so much more than that. And if you watch it as a child and then you watch it as an adult, it is going to hit you on so many different levels. Um, I think today, if someone had walked into a Nickelodeon office and said, "I got this great idea for a project, you're going to love it," it opens with genocide. I think they probably would say, "Get out of my office."
mhm.
It was never afraid to go there. It began with that. And, circling back to, I think, probably the most iconic scene from the show, the Leaves from the Vine scene, uh, it's dealing with some serious stuff. And it's not just dealing with death, it's actually dealing with grief. And grief is a great deal more complicated than death. And I think that's the beauty of the show. And there was never a more perfect end. Game of Thrones should have taken a lesson from Avatar: The Last Airbender because that's how you end the show. That's how you tie up all your loose ends in a beautiful, beautiful package. Even Aang refusing to kill Ozai, it's perfect. Although if I really wanted to get some controversy now, I would say Zutara. That's all I'm saying. Zutara.
Oh boy, this is gonna flame up some people. I mean, there is, you know what? I'm not gonna say it. There is another ship that it's probably just exclusively for the server. I think. There we go. They're all just spamming it right now. We actually,
If I were to ship
Michaela, when
Iro,
she,
someone asked me to ship Iro, so a T-Row, I think, would be that's how I would ship Iro. T-Row. Although this kind of blows my mind. Uh, Iro is clearly a very loving human. He loves his, nephew. He certainly loves his son. I think he even has love for Azula. Uh, and as such a loving person, it's really weird to me that not once is Mrs. Iro mentioned or alluded to.
that
And if
is
I if
actually,
I get to
hmm,
see Mike and Brian in San Diego, that's a question I really would like answered because I don't think they did anything by accident. I have I'm sure they know exactly why she's never mentioned. I have my own fan theories about it. Uh, I
that
also
is
think,
actually quite interesting.
right? Yeah, it seems weird that such a loving man would you'd never even talk about Lutan's mother. Uh, and the other thing I would ask Mike and Brian is again, he's a very loving man. His niece clearly has severe psychological trauma. So
Mhm.
it seems like the only line that seems really out of character to me is he's crazy and needs to go down. It seems like he would try to, although again, circling back because I've talked about this to a lot of people who thought about it. I think Azula didn't want to look for the light. I think you can't maybe help people unless they want to be helped. But I firmly
She sh-
believe, Azula deserves a redemption arc. I think
she is
some
getting
would
a
disagree,
comic, I
but I think,
think.
I
I don't know
think
if it's
some people
released.
say just let her be bad because some people are bad. But, I would like to see her redeemed because she kind of had a bad life, man. You can't blame her for
She
being so awful in some
mm,
ways.
I'm not sure, but I think the comic about Azula after the war is coming out or has been released. I'm not sure yet, but they're doing a comic for her
But
after the search, I
she
think,
deserves
because
it.
there are several comics where Azula appears after the war. Like one of them is like the search, where she searches for Zuko's mom together with Zuko and the rest of the gang. You actually see like Azula like on top of Appa and stuff like that. But
Oh, well,
yeah,
she
like they're
deserves
all
it, you know.
like
And I
going
love the
to
character, and I do believe,
yeah.
and I've told her this myself. Gray Delisle is one of the greatest voice actresses ever in the business. She should have won an Emmy for Azula's breakdown scene. That's
Oof.
acting like on a that's next level voice acting. Oh yeah, I am a big fan of Gray without a doubt.
Maybe we could invite her next over here. Who knows?
Absolutely, you know. Was it
Hmm.
Dante who calls her? She's the most interesting woman alive. I think he's
Ooh.
right.
But yeah, um, damn. But this all started with Zutara. Well then,
Zutara,
uh,
I stand by that, guys. I'm sorry, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Zutara, baby,
M-
Zutara, all the
Michaela
way.
was introduced last. No, like when we had a Q&A with Michaela, we told her about Ozaku, which was Ozai and Paku.
That I am very interested to see who the live action is going to cast as Toph. That's going to be a
Oh yeah,
very
a lot of
interesting.
people are rooting for Dwayne the Rock Johnson, but
Yeah, you know what? I think that would be pretty funny.
mhm.
I enjoy, you know, I've enjoyed the live action very much, and I've become really good friends with Paul. We've actually done photo ops together. You know, just you could not have asked for a better Iro than Paul. He looks the part. He's perfect for the part. And I have enjoyed it. You know, I have enjoyed it very much. I do have, if they would, you know, oddly enough, Netflix executives aren't on my speed dial, so they won't listen to me. But again, most iconic scene in the entire show is Leaves from the Vine. I've thought about this a lot, and I've thought, well, you know what? If Paul sings the song, there's going to be a lot of fans that aren't going to like it because Paul is singing the song. I don't sing the song. If Paul sings a different song, a lot of fans aren't going to like it. If Paul doesn't sing a song at all, nobody's going to like it. So the way I think they could do that scene and make everybody happy, light it with that beautiful twilight orangey sort of glow under the tree. You see him in silhouette with the memorial, and in the background, very quietly, you play Mako's original version of the song. And if they do it, that would make everybody happy. That would buy the show so much goodwill. And you know what? If there are any Netflix executives, you know, watching this, I'm telling you, I'm right about this. I trust me. I know this character. Uh,
Well, maybe we can send them clips or like bits of the Q&A.
yeah,
Maybe they will
it
get
really is.
inspired.
It really is. You
Yeah.
know, and the only thing that concerns me a little bit is because it's different. You know, the live action is such a different thing, and they have so much information that they seem to be plying forward with the action. And Tales from Bossing Say doesn't really advance the plot at all. But it advances character in a huge way. And I really hope they are not
Mhm.
so interested in compressing all the action that they forget to do that. And certainly also the Imran and Players is another one. Doesn't really advance the plot. But man, if you don't use the OG voice cast as the Emperor and Players, you guys, come on, somebody needs to, you know, earn their job earn their money over there at Netflix.
Well, yeah, true. Mm. Well, I guess we can continue on with the next question.
Let's do it.
Let's see. Okay, we kind of talked about this one already, kind of. Like, how did you come to replace the late Mako, not just on Avatar, but on quite a few other shows as well? We
Even
touched upon this a
Sondheim,
bit. Yeah.
even Sondheim and Pacific Overtures. And you know, uh, several years ago, an actor that I admired very much, Albert Finney, and was instrumental in me wanting to become an actor because I was so impressed with his work, he passed away. And I remember going in and talking to my wife saying, oh man, Albert Finney has died. I wish that I just could have put it out into the universe. Thank you. You've never met me. You don't even know who I am, but you really changed my life. I'd like you to know that." And my wife says, "Well, yeah, yeah, Albert Finney's gone now." But at the time, Sondheim was alive. And she said, "Well, Stephen Sondheim is still alive. Why don't you write him?" And so I found out his agent. I looked it up, found out his agent, sent him this letter explaining Pacific Overtures and Mako and how it all happened for me. And there's a wonderful lyric uh, from Pacific Overtures. And indeed, it's a song that Sondheim called his favorite song he ever wrote. And the lyric is, it's the ripple, not the stream. It's the ripple, not the stream that is happening. And I wrote Sondheim and I said, "I am one of your ripples, sir. You don't know me, you have no idea, but you changed my life in a huge way because you wrote this show." And so I put it out in the universe. I said, "Okay, I got that off my chest." 3 weeks later, Stephen Sondheim wrote me back. My wife says, "You're
Mm,
not going to believe this, Greg. This just came in the mail." And it said, "Sure enough, it was, 'Thank you so much for your kind letter, Greg. I'm so happy that the show had such a, I can't remember, he used a fancy word. It wasn't serendipitous. It was like that. But it was a very, yeah, a word I didn't, I literally, I had to look it up to make sure that Sondheim wasn't dissing me, but it was good." So, yeah, he wrote me back. And, uh, because I actually, of course, I love, my niche fandom has always been musical theater. And someone had asked me once if, because I'm 63, if I wanted to, thought about writing my memoirs down. And I said, "Nah,
mm,
that's boring. Nobody wants to read about that." But my initial idea was, wait a minute, what if I did a one-man show called Mako Man, the Greg Baldwin story, sort of tongue in cheek, very funny. Then I started thinking about it more. And my son is a composer, so who knows, this might happen. Uh, I had the idea for a musical called Ripples, and it would
mm.
be narrated by me, but the characters are going to be Stephen Sondheim, who is writing the show, and the other character would be Mako Iromatsu, who's an actor at the time and had already been an established actor. Uh, Pacific Overture sort of set him off on a new course because he had been doing a lot of television, but he was nominated for a Tony. Suddenly, he got Conan the Barbarian, and you know, and that's this whole idea of this interconnectedness of lives. Now, sometimes you might do something, and ripples of good and ripples of bad, I think, from your, will go out into the world, and you never know how one of your actions or something you do might affect someone else in a positive or a negative way. Uh, so who knows, maybe I'll write that musical, or probably not, because I'm lazy. So yeah, that probably won't happen, but it's a great idea. I'm sensing a Tony Award for it.
Best to write down all the ideas, and hey, who knows? Now that you have time,
Yeah, maybe, but again, very lazy, very, very lazy. That's why
you
I'm a
would
voice
definitely have
actor.
a fandom to which would definitely listen and watch it. So,
Uh, yeah, I'm looking at all of this. This is just so cool watching all these people talk. I wish I could talk as well, but I can only do one thing at a time because I'm old. I do. Oh, my Jedi insignia does look good, though. I like that. Yeah, very nice.
hmm wow. Um, well, I guess we should
Live
continue.
long and prosper. No, no, this is. I would like. I mix up my fandoms. I'll go. May the force be with you. I got a map, an Avatar,
Ooh,
Star Trek, Star Wars
The
thing.
Trekkies would be mad. No, but
Oddly,
speaking of
I'm
Star
right-handed. I
Wars,
can't do that with my right hand, but I can do it with my left hand. Easy.
would you think that Mark Hamill would maybe be interested in joining a Q&A here?
Oh, I don't. I don't. He's a pretty cool guy. Very
Mm,
possibly.
but he's
I
probably
would
very
love it.
busy though.
Every now and then we'll have an Avatar reunion, and only once have they got us all together with even May and Zach. Uh,
Mm,
it would have, we were at the time we were thinking, wouldn't it be cool if Mark had just sort of surprised us? I had a funny story though. I It was I think it was the very last episode. And again, I had been plucked from a day job at Disney, do this wonderful thing. And I walk into Nickelodeon, sitting there in the green room, and Mark Hamill comes and sits next to me. And my inner monologue at this point is like, "Oh my god, that's Mark Hamill. What am I gonna do? Oh, you gotta be cool, Greg. Be cool. Be cool. You're professional. Be cool, no matter what." And so I said, you know what? I'm not even gonna talk to him. It's so cool. I'm gonna act like I don't even know that Mark Hamill is sitting next to me." And that is what I did. And we went in and recorded the session. And he is famously such a nice man. He came up to me and he took my hand and said, "Hey, that was nice work you did in there. Nice to meet you. My name is Mark Hamill." It was like, "I know who you are, man. I know who you are. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you, but I was freaked out." Just to let you know, of all the people that I've worked with, the biggest stars would be Mark Hamill and George Clooney. Both of them are very nice humans, which is cool.
Oh, yeah, just pretty chill, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would love to. Yeah, but again, Mark's not on speed dial with me either. If only. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Ooh, yeah, that would be interesting. Who knows? Well, that actually was one of my questions, I think, or the ones that were provided by the the people and the users. Is whom did you enjoy working with the most during your time on Avatar?
Uh, Dante. Dante,
Dante?
because a lot of times and so many of our scenes were together, and the nice thing about some shows will just pretty much record individually, but for the most part, they tried to get everybody together, as many people as they could. And Dante was just so kind, and he's such a chill, wonderful human, and he was so kind to me. And he was a friend of Mako's. Mako was one of his friends, a tutor. Yeah, actually, mentor. That's the word I'm looking for. Uh, and just such a lovely, lovely man. I saw him a couple of weeks ago in Rhode Island. We had a wonderful time. Uh, they were so kind to me, knowing that I was coming into this thing was hard. Knowing, and I'm coming into this knowing not only am I replacing this actor, but you guys worked with him. I'm replacing your friend, and yeah,
Hmm.
I will always, appreciate the kindness that Dante showed me, and the cast as well. Most of my scenes were with Dante, and he's just, Dante's the grist. Yeah, Rufio.
That sounds really wholesome, actually. Yeah. Oh.
It's,
Hmm.
however, what's weird is, dude is in his mid 40s. He still looks like Rufio. How can he be that? He looks so young. It's remarkable, man. Great hair too. He's got great
I
hair, and
mean,
he didn't even have to buy it. My hair is fake. His hair is real. He's having a
just
good time.
like Keanu Reeves, they
Yeah,
both know the secret.
yeah. I think, yeah. Yes, he's married, and I think he is expecting. Uh,
Hmm. Oh,
I think so
damn.
is May. I believe May is also expecting a child. So it's kind of cool. I am not expecting a
Hey,
child, but I wouldn't mind
yo.
grandchildren. Grandchildren would be cool. Kids, if you're watching, come on. TikTok, TikTok. They hate it. They
Well,
hate it when I do that. Uh, but my daughter's getting married in October, so I started to do the
oh,
math, and I was like,
congratulations.
okay, if I'm
Oh,
63, I'll be 68. If they had the kid in 2 years, I would be like 70 when the kid started kindergarten. So I'm doing the math. Okay, go to
yeah.
try.
Brain is braining.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't. I don't think I'll make it to them leaving for college, but if I'm lucky break, I might live long enough to see him going to high school, maybe. When you're old, you think about it. When you're old, it's prudent to think about this sort of thing. Not to bring everybody down, but yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
I mean,
prudent to
true,
keep it,
yeah.
keep it in.
I mean, I don't think you have anything to worry, honestly. So, yeah, it's going to be fine.
Well, you see, actually, my father, who passed away in 2008, uh,
I,
came to me in a dream. This is probably about 10 years ago, and he told me the day that I would die. So right now, putting it out here, the date that my father told me in my dream was March 31st, 2031. Drink up is his last call. And you heard it here. So if I actually do die on March 31st, 2031, you can go, oh, wow, man, he actually predicted it. Hopefully I'm wrong.
hopefully he was wrong, and that in that case, anyone who, the
The thing is,
ambulances and
they
stuff, like,
were like, so was your dad a practical joker? I said, well, my dad was a banker. And, that's it, but enough said. So anytime my kids thought it was funny when I first had the dream, they said, "Hey, we should throw a death day party every year. That'd be funny." And I remember at the time saying, "Yeah, that'd be really funny until it starts getting closer to that date. Then suddenly it's not going to be so funny anymore."
Now I'm gonna
Anyway,
send
not to
a.
bring everybody down, but hey,
I'm gonna make a
true
reminder
story. I
for
did have some
myself to
great
like to text you on Twitter, like on April 1st, 2031.
Anytime
Like
your dead
you're
father
there.
tells you the day you're going to die, you probably should wake up and pay attention to that.
Yikes. Well,
And thank you.
whew. um, hmm. Let's see. What's okay? We have another question, and it is question number. I don't remember which number, but do people ever come to you asking for advice?
Yes, they do. And what I tell them is not mistake me for Uncle Iroh. I am not Iroh level wise. I like to say that I'm as wise as any 63-year-old that's been reasonably paying attention is. Uh, but I will give them Iroh advice. Lots of times Iroh has so many wonderful sayings. Unfortunately, I've committed a lot of them to memory. Uh, but I think the first time I realized that, oh goodness, this is a little bit over my pay grade. Someone had DM'd me on Twitter, said, "Oh, Mr. Baldwin, I'm sorry to bother you, but I just didn't know what my dad died last night. I was wondering if you could give me some words of wisdom." And I'm going, okay, that's something. Uh, but I did my best. I yeah, I try to give advice as much as I can. But again, don't take advice from me. I'm just a D-list voice actor. Hey, I ain't Uncle Iroh. If I could firebend, I would be in prison by now.
Did you say D list? Did you just say D
I
list?
think I'm solid D-list. Yes, I do
Bruh.
actually. Assuming
Nah. Okay.
Tom Kenny and Gray and Tara Strong, those are the A-list people. Those are A-list. I think D-list, maybe
Okay.
C-list.
Okay. I think everyone, including the people in that chat right now, are heavily disagreeing with you. And yeah, they're just going berserk. Yeah, obviously.
well, you're all very very kind indeed. Uh,
Yeah.
this is not if you would the coolest thing you could say if I went back and talked to my 17-year-old self. My 17-year-old self said, "Okay, Greg, here's how your life is going to go. Uh, when you're 63, you will have been married for 40 years. By the way, this is my 40th anniversary on August 24th. Two great kids, and you're going to make your living traveling all over the country, meeting people that love you and signing autographs." Uh, I think my 17-year-old self would say, "Hey, man, that's sweet, man. All right, old dude. I think that's all right. I can look forward to it." I think probably the best thing you could say about your life, anyone's life, is if somebody said to me, "Okay, Greg, you could go back and be 17 again, or you could go back and be born again. But everything has to play out exactly the way it did. Nothing will change. The good things, the bad things, everything's going to play out exactly the same." I would say, "Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd love to do it again. I do every minute of it again. It's fantastic. Being alive is great." Uh, and being Uncle Iroh, the second voice of Uncle Iroh, that is awesome, man. People will say, "How does it feel being the voice of Uncle Iroh?" The second voice of Uncle Iroh. It's like,
Mhm.
it feels great. How do you think it's awesome, man? It feels fantastic. It beats spelling names at Disney for a living, I can tell you that.
And
All
it
that
is
work with.
inspiring to so many people around the world.
Being alive is great. That is again, everything sounds better. Uncle Iroh says it. Being alive is great. Used to every now
Oh
and then
my
I'll
god.
get practical life advice from Uncle Iroh. And here's a good one. This is do not mix liquors. It's a good one too.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, I don't listen to my own more than once. That's come back to bite me on the butt. I can tell you. Good
I
advice.
would
Don't
probably say
do
something in the
not mix
lines of
liquors.
I would probably say something or I wrote with do not mix teas. But
Do not
speaking
mix
of
tea.
teas,
Do not eat yellow snow. That's a good one too. Just practical advice.
oh my god. Okay. Yeah, this is why I love these Q&As. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm having fun.
speaking of tea, Iro states that his favorite tea is ginseng and that he also likes jasmine tea. Do you enjoy tea? And if so, what is your favorite?
I do. I do very much. But it's not the sexy answer that people expect. People expect me to say jasmine tea or Darjeeling tea or something a little more, exotic. Uh, Here's the thing, y'all. I was born in New Mexico, but my parents and grandparents and great great grandparents were all from Texas. I grew up drinking sweet tea. If you want to know what my favorite tea is, it is sweet tea. The sweeter, the better, y'all. I like it
Ooh.
sweet. If you don't have to go to the dentist after you have your sweet tea, it ain't sweet tea. You Yankees don't know how to make sweet tea. They don't know how to make it in California either. Sweet tea ain't sweetened tea. It's sweet tea.
All right, thank
Yeehaw.
you. Um,
My relationship with Texas is very complicated, but I love lots of things about Texas that I love very much.
do you have any places
Weather
where you
not
can
being one of them.
recommend sweet tea?
Yes, I do recommend sweet tea. It's a southern thing. Uh, It is different. I was doing an event one time, and it was in Texas actually, and I told them that that's my favorite tea, and they went and they brought me back bucket of iced tea. It was fantastic. I drank it there, And this is a
Ooh.
bucket. I have it on. I cleaned it out and I have it on display here in my office. A sweet tea. I'm also partial to Long Island teas from time to time. Uh,
Hmm.
I enjoy tequila. Thank you very much.
Tequila.
Tequila. Uh, Another piece of advice from an irohs voice that I do this sometime. The first Long Island tea is always delicious. The second Long Island tea is also delicious. The third Long Island tea is always a mistake. That is wisdom, baby. That is wisdom. I've made that mistake once or twice. Three Long Island teas. It's one too many. I do enjoy. Yeah, a Long Island tea. That's the beauty of Long Island tea. That tastes so good, you don't even know that you're getting really, really drunk because it's literally all the white liquors in. I'm a man that enjoys his cocktails.
And that's why
Will
you
ask
go
me
with two and a
20,
half.
40 years now
That's
how did my people will ask me relationship advice. Uh,
hmm.
and I will say, and this is true, communication, compromise, and cocktails. My wife and I pretty much have cocktails every day, and that's because we talk, probably not that good for my liver, but man, I've had a good time. I can tell you that. A very good
Hmm.
time. It's good to be alive. Life is great.
Indeed. Oof. Yeah. Okay, we should I don't know how long are you open for the Q&A?
Yeah,
But
I'm having fun. I have no great, I don't,
I
I've got
mean,
a,
we scheduled it for until 9 p.m., but if you want, we can continue further than that,
yeah, we can
just a
go on a
little
little
more.
longer. Absolutely.
If
I
you
got
want.
nothing to do. I've got
All right.
till 9 p.m. Wow. It's a long time. Uh,
No, KH, no, we're not going to do it for 7 hours.
I mean, I love you guys. The nine. No, I've got
We feel really
those
honored
usual
that you
things.
say that.
I got to clean the
Thank you.
house. We're doing a remodel.
Mm,
I got to do Quicken. I do Quicken every day. That's
mm.
I'm enjoying
Ooh,
a
I got
24-hour stream. Let's go, baby! A 24-hour stream.
um, oh, I got one. As the Dragon of the West, how are you with spicy food in real life?
I live in New Mexico, and I was raised in Texas, so I think that's everything you need to know. I don't know if you guys have ever been to New Mexico, but we put green chili, capital of the world, best of green chilies. We put green chili in like our breakfast cereal. No, I don't know Walter, but I do brew a little meth now and again. So, yeah, if you live in New Mexico, it's what you do. In Albuquerque, which is I love this show. Breaking Bad is one of my favorite shows ever. And I was very fortunate I was down there in Texas, and Walt Jr. was there. It's like, oh, I got to meet Walt Jr. because I love that show. And it turned out that Walt Jr. was a big fan of Avatar. So I gave him one of my teacups, and he gave me it was kind of cool, you know. Yes, I am a stoner. That is correct. I think I have been a proud THC user since 1979. I do not dispute it. Uh,
Nice.
I
Yeah.
don't. I
Um,
I'm going to be the Willie Nelson, slash Snoop Dogg of voice actors. Just saw somebody in the chat say, "I know he's a stoner." Yes, yes, I am. Yes, I
oh
am.
my
Happy to
god.
be.
Oh yeah, but speaking of peppers, did you hear about the Pepper X?
No, is that a new?
It's
Is
the
that
n-
a new?
yeah, I think it's
High,
artificially made, but it's like it's the highest, like it's the hottest chili pepper in the world right now. It's higher than the Carolina Reaper.
it's interesting. When we moved here, I've always liked spicy food, but my wife didn't even eat jalapenos. And the longer that we've lived here, now she's moved up. Yeah, she likes her green chilies hot now. We really do put it in everything. Yeah, spicy food I enjoy very much.
Hmm. Indeed, interesting. Okay. Ooh, okay, I got another question for you. Um, what is your well? We did kind of maybe answer this one already. What is your favorite memory from recording Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Certainly, the Mark Hamill interaction, and the day that Dante and I recorded the forgiveness scene, the tent scene.
Yeah, the tenth
Uh,
scene.
Probably that. And I also really enjoyed recording Cora. I mean, and Janet Varney's just wonderful. I'm going to see her in San Diego, her and Dante. Uh,
Ooh.
and Cora, I guess because he was in the spirit world, it was lovely because every line, really good lines they gave me. And the only thing, again, I like to rethink things and how you can make a good thing even better. And in the Cora scene where he's in the spirit world with young Cora, and they're all sitting down having a spirit tea party. Man, I wish they had thought of this. It would have been cool just to see uh, he's sitting there at the table, and you see somebody slide in sitting next to him, and you don't know who it is exactly, and he doesn't even notice. It's like clearly someone that sits next to him all the time, and then the camera pans back, and you realize that Liu Ten has come in and sat next to his father at that table. I would have loved to. I get chills just thinking about it. That would have been cool.
Mm,
Uh, and yeah, it
mm,
would be cool. It's the spirit world. Of course, Liu Ten would be there, and I think that's it because they probably hang out with each other all the time.
mm.
Uh, Again, I
Maybe
like. I
they.
always. I love. I like. And I also think that's also the power of the show. I like to cry. I enjoy crying. I think tears are not a sign of weakness, but a strength. I cry at beer commercials, especially the Christmas ones. Uh, I think that's one of the reasons why, because people enjoy a good cry. At least from the vine, it's a good cry, and it makes you feel better. It's cathartic, and tears like that. Now you don't want the tears where you get the call or something horrible has happened. That's a different thing. A sentimental sort of crying, a sentimental tears, and it's good for us. I think, honestly, I think that you know what, America, we all just need to give each other a hug and have a good cry. And I think maybe everything would be better if we could just
Oh,
all have a good cry
word.
together, cry it out, everybody. Then we can also, have a little tea. HC, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. I made that joke up myself. Uh,
Mm, damn. Um, hmm. I guess I should probably continue with asking questions or something. Let's see. Hmm. How do you think Iroh's wisdom impacted Zuko's character throughout the series?
oh, I had a conversation with a wonderful. I thought it was one of the most insightful things ever. We were talking about Zula's redemption arc, which got us talking about Zuko's redemption arc, which
Hmm.
got us to which, by the way, Zuko's redemption arc is the greatest redemption arc since Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, it is a perfect redemption arc. It's perfect. Uh, we talked about Iroh's redemption arc, and we were talking. So I don't know because Iroh, I mean, did some pretty nasty things. I mean, the case can certainly be made that he was a war criminal, without a doubt. Uh, for him to change so completely, um, I don't know if just the death of his son was enough for him to make his crimes right, to atone for his sins. And this fan said, Zuko is Iroh's redemption arc. And I thought, wow, I'm getting chilled now because that is exactly right. Zuko was his redemption arc, giving the world a kinder, gentler Fire Lord. He brought peace to the world through Zuko. And I think that's exactly right. That's his. Oh, I love that picture. That is a great picture, man. A friend of mine, I think it was in Tennessee. Someone gave me that picture. Uh, I think that's, and I think that's why people love the show. Aang is the titular title character, but Aang learns to harness his powers. He learns to be the Avatar. Maybe he just wants to have fun and be a kid. He steps up and does what he has to do. The Aang at the end and the Aang at the beginning aren't that different. Uh, the Zuko you meet on that boat and the Zuko that becomes Fire Lord are completely different. And
Mhm.
I think that's another power of the show because it tells us that no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, Iroh or Zuko, uh, you can change. You can become a better version of yourself. You know what? I'm sold. I'm going to get me a mohawk. Absolutely, going to get me a mohawk because it's fake hair
Honestly,
anyway. I
yeah.
can do whatever I want. So my next wig, I can do a mohawk and see how that looks.
Definitely. And you should go to what's it called? Like the next Comic Con when your mohawk like grows out like properly. Just
Oh, it doesn't
surprise
grow.
everyone with that.
It won't grow. I have actually thought about. I think I get like 8 new wigs a year. I think with this, maybe get some longer, more Iro like hair. I don't know. It might look kind of cool. We'd see. But I don't
Oh
want to look like
yeah.
a ridiculous old man. I don't want to look like I'm 40. I want to look like I'm 63. Just want to look like I'm at 63 with nice hair. So I love I love my toupee, man. My toupee
You
has
would
been a
definitely look okay with like with the mohawk. And Bun has a good suggestion that you should dye it like fire mohawk.
I think I should. It's not. I have to talk to Mrs. Baldwin about that. See what Melissa has to say. She will definitely have some say.
Look,
Have some
um,
words to say about that.
I mean, hey, you might be Mr. Baldwin, but you're not getting bald yet. So okay.
This is yeah. This is. It looks good though. It looks pretty real,
Mm,
and it makes
um,
it does make me feel better about myself. Uh, my wife, when I got it, she was like, "Oh yeah, these are my ear piercings. These are these are interesting. They're turquoise because they're from my New Mexico roots. But this one, the
mm,
bottom, my wife and I had our ears pierced at Venice Beach back in probably 1987. Second one, my daughter and I had our
wow,
ears pierced at Venice Beach, and the third, my son and I had our ears pierced at Venice Beach. So uh, I sort of have all three of them in my ear here. The hole at the top grew over. And my son was
that
like,
it,
"Dad, what's wrong? Where am I? You took mine out. What am I out of the will here?" It's like, "No, man, I got it re-pierced."
that is so wholesome and
I
cool.
know.
Oh
Here I
my
am,
god.
an old man with the piercings and the tattoos.
Mm,
Again, why not? I'll go with the mohawk too.
I mean, but
Red mohawk.
speaking of children, like what do you think? Who or are you excited to see Lu Ten perhaps as on the live action series?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
I think that is a relationship that I would love to hear more about. Luten's youth, Luten's mother. Uh, I would love to. Again, Nickelodeon doesn't listen to me. I would love to see a show just about the brothers, just about Ozai and Iroh, and how all of
Ooh.
that came to be. But again, Netflix
Mm.
doesn't listen to me. Nickelodeon doesn't listen to me. I had what I thought was a great idea. I still think it's a great idea.
So
I was
basically, House
watching
of the
the
Dragon, but like
Ass of the
prequel to
Dragon.
Avatar.
I was watching the it was the Tom Hanks movie where he played Mr. Rogers, and it occurred to me that in many ways irohs, sort of Mr. Rogers for another generation, because the lessons are very much the same. Everyone has value. Everyone is special. Everyone is unique. And above all, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind. And I had this idea, Iroh's Tea House, and it would be a show for preschoolers, really. And it's just very gentle lessons about how we should treat one another. Very gentle lessons about being kind to one another. I think
Mhm.
that would be I would love to watch that show. Will I voice Iroh again? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? If I don't, I get to be the second voice of Uncle Iroh, and that's pretty cool. If someone else did it, I would be happy to see that show. So who knows? Nickelodeon, if you're listening, it's a great idea. Giving it to you for free.
Oof, I wish we can send it to them, but who knows? Maybe.
Well, there is the fact that hi Jake, the fact that there is more and more content, and the fact that it's so much a part of the cultural lexicon. That's a fancy word. Stephen Sondheim gave that to me. Uh, is great. We were a little worried when the live action came out. So on the cons, are people still going to be interested in the OG people? Uh, if anything, it actually has increased, visibility of the show. We go to these cons, and the lines are insane. Literally, I wouldn't stand in line, 2 hours to meet me, but I'm amazed that people do. Thank you. Again, you're making my old age. I never imagined that people would stand in line to meet me. As
Hmm.
you might have noticed, I like to talk. Sometimes this gets to be a problem when I'm at a fan convention, because I'll talk and talk and talk. One time they even had a representative from the con stand behind me with a stopwatch. Okay, you got 3 minutes, old man. 3 minutes, and boom, move it on, move it on. So,
Hey, you're not gonna
hey,
top Christopher Judge as the voice actor for God of War. Like when he took like what 9 minutes or so on the stage for the
I like, I
Game
like,
Awards.
I like meeting people, and uh, I like meeting all different kinds of people all over the country. And if you look at the Twitter, and please, I shouldn't be on Twitter, and neither should you. It's a hive of scum and villainy, a wretched hive of scum and villainy. But if you read that, you think that we're all at each other's throats. And my experience, and maybe this is the kind of people that go to fan conventions, has not been that. I uh, and maybe it's because I think no matter what our political, ideas are, or moral ideas are, whatever, when we're at a con talking about the stories that we love, we're talking about the things that we have in common. And I think maybe that's a start, at least. If we can agree on, there are some things that we like. We like Avatar. Most of us like weed. Most people like cocktails. I think start from that. Maybe don't move on. I have actually toyed with the idea of New Mexico's a very small state. Uh, Only 1.5 million people, and in the last gubernatorial election, one of the candidates was the weatherman from Albuquerque. I
Mm.
thought to myself, well, if a weatherman can get a governor nomination, I bet you Uncle Iroh could run for governor of New Mexico and win. Uh, which is something I have thought about. I am still thinking about it. But what I want to do, I don't know how to do it. Because if I were to run it for governor of New Mexico, I wouldn't run as a Democrat or Republican. I believe that the time has come for a White Lotus party, and we could pull from both sides, the good things from both sides, and try to find some commonality. Uh, it is something I think about. My family absolutely doesn't want me to do it, and I'm not even sure how to do it. And I also worry that politics is such a dirty business. You can go into it with the best and most, perfect of intentions, but I think the business of it itself is going to corrupt you eventually. And I kind of like my soul, so I'm not sure if I want my soul dirtied like that. But I would love to bring people together if I could, if this character can bring people together. And if anything can, it is this character that reaches out to people of all persuasions. Uh, cause, and I stand by this. Uh, I think another one of the reason why Iroh is so beloved is he reminds us all of either the father that we were lucky enough to have or the father that we desperately wanted. And
Hmm.
I think, I think that's the power of the character. And I would love in the time that I have left to use that for good somehow. I don't know. I guess I'll know what I know when I know what I'm supposed to do. I do feel like there's something I'm supposed to do as the second voice of this character that hasn't been revealed yet, and something good. I want to do good in the world. The world is a dark place, and I would like to bring a little light into it if I can. I don't know if running for governor is that, but something. I'll know it. I'll know it when the universe presents it to me.
I mean, absolutely. And if you ever feel lost, again, you can go back to Iroh's
Yeah.
quotes.
My managers go. You realize you're not going to make as much money doing in politics. I said, yeah, I know, but I don't know. We'll see. Who knows?
Mm.
Who knows?
But yeah, speaking of Iroh, how do you feel about Iroh's portrayal in the live action series?
I think he's. I think again. I think Paul could. They could not have found a better. My favorite part of the live action so far, is the relationship between Iroh and Zuko. Uh, and I think I think they nailed it. Unlike apparently there was another movie they made at some point of Avatar. I've heard rumors of it. That
We
such
do
a thing
not
might
mention that
exist.
one.
There is
That
no
one does
movie
not
of Bob.
exist. Exactly.
I have 3 times. I have tried to give that film the benefit of a doubt. Uh, I have literally 3 times. I cannot get more than 10 minutes into it. I have to turn it off because it's like How did you get this so wrong? How did you? And that's the beauty of the new live. The Netflix show is getting it right. That not, and it's not Uncle Ero, it's Iro, and it's a little thing. I think uh, Iro needs to be fat. No, I think because it's sort of part of his character. I think that's one of the cool things about it. He seems like this fat, jolly old peaceful man who come and have some tea. We're gonna get together. We're gonna have some talk. But he's also a badass. I think that's he needs to be fat like that because you don't know what about you don't take him as seriously as you should and don't realize that this is not just a fat old jolly guy drinking tea. This is the dragon of the west, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to mess with him. And so I think Iroh needed to be fat. I think the actor Sean Tube, I think, was not fat, and good for you. You'll live longer, Sean. But the character, I think, needs to be fat. And by the way, what that's also the we were talking about I alluded earlier to the OG voice cast doing the Ember Island players.
Hmm.
Somewhere I had read it said no, they should do the M Night Shyamalan actors. On the one hand, that's very funny, but on the other hand, it's also kind of mean. Those it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. It was M Night Shyamalan's Avatar, and it shouldn't have been. But the actors did their job. But it would be mean, I think, to cast them as the Ember Island players.
Yeah, maybe that would be maybe too much.
If you look for the dark, you'll find M Night Shyamalan's Last Airbender. I like that. That's
Oof.
good. It's very good.
Oh boy. Uh-huh. Um yeah. Well, hmm. We've been
Any more? Any more? Tell you what, I'll go another 15 minutes, and
yeah,
so
maybe we can just chill and hang out with the rest of the people here. Like, you guys have any questions or something
yeah,
you can read
and
from
I'll talk
there?
about I talk about a lot of things.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
we
do like
did
to talk.
cover what did you say?
Let's
Sorry?
talk about Aku. We have not talked about Aku, the master of
Oh,
masters,
oh.
the shogun of sorrow. Wonderful thing about Aku is the duality of it, and the fact that I have the great privilege of being the second voice of this character that represents everything good and light, and this other character that is the literal embodiment of all evil in the world. Extra thick, my friends, extra thick. And I sometimes, especially when I'm tweeting. Sometimes it's like, the little angels on the shoulder. Sometimes I'll have like, Ira will be over here going, "Oh, read me." I would love to hear your poem about Iro. Uh, I'll hear Iro over here going, "Greg, do you really want to put that out into the universe? There is so much poison and darkness. Do not hit send." And over here, "Ah, you're a coward, Baldwin. Hit send. Wah! You can even make it a little meaner." What I do is I will type the real. I will, I'll type out the really mean tweet. I'll get that out of my system, but then I don't send it. So I honor both my Iro and my Aku, know, uh, sides. And then I love the fact that, yeah, it's cool that you can be. If I could have voiced a different character, and well, was I probably, because the villain, circling back to Aku, uh, was I would have been probably character that I would have liked to, but who could, it's Mark Hamill, who could, I wouldn't dare to, uh, you know, do that. But yeah, that would be another character that I would have liked to have played. You know? But Iroh's the dream, man. Iroh's the. I'm a little prejudiced, but I do believe that Iroh is one of the greatest characters in all of fiction. I think that's true. I think in fact, no less. Oh, I wish you a happy birthday, my friend. You know who you are. This is kind of fun, actually. Uh, just
Hmm.
going through this and looking at it, yeah, looking at all this. Uh, a relationship I would have loved to have seen developed in either live action or the original. I would like to have seen more of the breakup in the brothers. I would like to have seen more how that happened, how that went about. Uh, were Osai and Iroh, friends when they were young, when they were little. At what point did it all go wrong? I'd love to see that.
Hmm.
That's a very nice
Hmm.
poster. Dream collaborators you'd like to work with, huh? Well, dream collaborator again. Circling back to my niche fandom, probably Lin Manuel Miranda, probably Lin Manuel Miranda. That would be a dream collaborator. But I am a musical comedy freak. And I was also very much into Star Wars. If you're at my table, and I'll tell my handlers, "Oh man, if we start talking about Star Wars, cut me off because I'll talk about Star Wars for an hour. I'll just keep talking about it." Uh, yes, I would. If asked, I would voice Iroh again. Absolutely. I love that. I like that's very good with the hockey, and that's all of
Hmm.
us, isn't it? We're all Iroh and Aku. We all have an Iroh and an Aku side. Uh, my favorite Star Wars character. This will surprise you. Uh,
Oh
but
yeah,
again,
actually,
you voice
I wanted to
Aku.
see
My
that too.
favorite Star Wars character is Palpatine. Yeah, Darth Sidious, man. Uh, that's a standalone movie I would like to see, and I got to actually meet the voice actor at one of these cons, and it was so cool. Uh, I mean, though, don't assume that because I voice, the second voice of Iroh, that I'm this kind, nice. I have an Aku side. Indeed, I am a proud Slytherin man. I am proud of that. I do not ashamed of my Slytherinness at all. I'm happy to be a Slytherin. How
You
Slytherin
have chosen wisely.
then.
But yeah, until episode 9 with somehow Palpatine returned. We
Yeah, now
totally
that
trust him.
the less I enjoyed I always loved the prequels. I loved the prequels when they came out, and now the prequels are finally getting some love. Maybe years from now, the sequels will make not my favorite. I think they could have done a little more. Uh, with it, because it was sort of just like you're just replaying the whole thing, except it's not the Empire. Now it's the First Order. It's not Palpatine. No, it's Slope or whatever his name is. Don't wait, it is Palpatine. Uh, it could have been better. Favorite planet is also Coruscant. Love Coruscant. Andor was great. Like that. I liked Obi-Wan Kenobi too. Uh, it's sad. I had very seeing on Obi-Wan Kenobi, seeing Tara Sinube in the crypt actually had a very strong reaction to it. It really made me sad because I like the character so much. And it's like, oh no, man, Tara Sinube ends up like this. That's terrible. Uh,
Mm,
Character that I voiced before that I would love to revisit is definitely Tara Sinube. Uh, because
mm.
if you're going to invent a Jedi, an old Jedi whose lightsaber is in his cane, come on, you got to use him more than once. Yes, I've watched Lord of the Rings. I even watched the extended version. And what was that? I used a quote from Lord of the Rings just the other day. This was a Iroh tweet. It sounds actually pretty good in Iroh's voice. Where Sam says, "I wish I had not lived to see such times," and Gandalf, but I'll do it in Iroh's voice if I can remember it. So do all who live in such times.
But
That
that
is
is not
not
for you
for
to
you to
decide.
decide. Our
Hmm.
decide is what to do with the time given you. And I think any
Yeah.
tips for aspiring voice actors? Perseverance. I could give you some very technical tips, but other people who are smarter than I can do that. I
Uh,
was 46 when I was cast as Iroh. And if you want to be a
by the
voice actor, or really, if you want to do anything enough, stick with it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. No,
your
stick
camera,
with
by
it.
the way, is not working again. Sorry.
My camera's
Just
not
wanted to say
working.
that. It says it's loading again.
That's weird because I can see me on mine. That's weird.
I mean, you could do the old trick again with disconnecting and connecting if you want.
I could disconnect and connect back. All right, let's try. I'm going out and then I'll come back.
Hmm.
All right, I'll be
Okay.
back soon. I hope. If I'm not, it's been nice talking to you. I'm an old guy. Hopefully, I don't screw it up.
I mean, it's just Discord. It's gonna be
If not,
fine.
all right, we'll try it again. And if I get back, I'm
Yeah.
back. All right, signing out
All
now.
right.
Hopefully, I'll come back.
Mm-hmm. What, no, I was just advised to tell him that. Okay, we can hear you. It's still loading. Wait. Hmm? Hmm. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I can't see you, but if others can, yeah, yeah. Didn't you say that to me? I think. Yeah, you said you would be an airbender. Yeah.
That's what draws me to it. Not so much the fire bending, but the air. Definitely. It's weird.
Hmm.
Some of you can see me. I guess some don't. My day is going very well. I'm getting to chat and do this with everybody. And I think the avatar content is fantastic. The more avatar content we have, the better. I think again, it makes me feel good to know that I was part of something that is greater than myself. I think the BBC, I read this somewhere, had a. Well, thank you, Tony, for staying awake to see me in Vietnam. Thank you very much. Uh,
Damn.
that's awesome, man. Thank you. Okay, now and hello, Germany. Wow, all over the world. I'd love to visit Germany someday. BBC, thank you very much. Someone got me back on track. Thank you. You can see my bold eyes go, okay, where was I talking about? BBC had a list of the 100 greatest television shows of all time, and not animated shows. These are the 100 greatest. Greetings from the Netherlands. I've got some Dutch blood in me. Uh, and not animated shows. You're talking about Breaking Bad. You're talking about The Sopranos. You're talking about I Love Lucy. You're talking about the greatest TV shows of all time. And the BBC ranked Avatar: The Last Airbender as the 60th greatest show of all time. I would actually put it a little higher than that, but I think it's honor. You know, it's so cool, and it's such an honor to be a part of that. And honestly, the of all the great blessings in my life, and I have been blessed. You know, I'm going to get hit by a bus. I had supportive parents who loved me. I've been happily married since 1984 with a woman that I love to this day. Uh, I have great kids who are doing very well, and I've been all of these blessings. You know, hello Saudi Arabia, I love you back. It's been one of the greatest blessings of my life, apart from my wife and my children. Having the chance
Mm,
to be the second voice of this character that means so much to so many people, and a character that only puts good out into the world, you know, uh, which ostensibly then becomes my job of just putting good out into the world. And I think, you know, that's what a great blessing. I just have to pinch myself, you know. Again, my 17-year-old self would think that, hey, Baldwin, you ended up okay. Uh, and, you know, and when I
mhm,
say it,
mm,
and it's weird. It sounds a little weird, but you know, I was talking, I think, to my wife one time, and I have only one actual nephew. You know, only one actual nephew in the world. And I was talking to my wife, and I said, you know, isn't it ironic that I'm the second voice of this famous uncle character, and I only have one nephew? And she says, "Oh, Greg, you have millions of nieces and nephews." And it's a little weird, but I kind of have come to think of you all as that, you know. And I take this job very, very, very seriously. Uh, you know, Iro represents so much to so many people, and it's like, you know, for example, Tom Kenny. One of the greatest voice actors ever voices SpongeBob, and SpongeBob is a great character. But I don't think people are coming up to you know, Tom Kenny going, "Wow, SpongeBob was like a father to me." You know, you know, SpongeBob changed my life. You know, SpongeBob got me through this dark patch in my life. Iro does that, uh, and I take it
mhm.
seriously. I mean, again, I'm not Iro. I'm not as oh, if I could have met Mako, what would I just said? Thank you, man. I would say thank you. Thank you for all that you've done. Uh, Thank you for you again. You have blessed my life. I think it's really, if you look at Mako's wiki page, uh, the last line in his wiki biography is my name. After his death, you know, he was a lot of his work was taken over by Greg Baldwin. I think it's I don't know why the universe chose me for this. Uh, but I'm glad that it does, and I take it seriously, and I do think of you all as my nieces and nephews, you know? So I'm
And
taking you all
so
out
are
for
we.
ice cream, and we're gonna see, Inside Out 2, so, yeah, you're all invited, off we go. By the way, Inside Out 2 is great.
Oh, yeah, I heard
Let's
that
go.
too.
Ice cream for everybody, or, you know,
Ooh,
if you're of age, we'll have some Long Island tea, or some tequila,
tequila, and yeah,
or some,
but
you know,
not
or for those
3
that
Long
indulge, some
Islands.
THC as well. THC, you know,
Also,
Uncle
by the way, I think
Hyro's
your
THC.
camera is still not showing. I think so. If you can
That's
just
weird.
switch to no video, I mean that would be
No
that would be
video, I
perfect.
can do that. Boom.
Yeah, we can
And I
just.
think,
Yeah, there we
well,
go.
it's coming up on 1:30. Uh,
Yeah, it is actually. But yeah,
this has
so
been just
maybe.
delightful, you know? This has been delightful. We should do this again sometime. And my gosh,
Oh, we would.
again, I can't believe people from all over the world, you know, are
Oh, absolutely. I
spectacular.
mean, like, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm in Sweden, so like everyone is here, like the entire world, just watching. But yeah,
Well,